Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse, and today we're in the data center. We won't be here for long because today I want to show you when you purchase a nice server like this awesome Lenovo SR650. Well, as an enterprise server it comes with some perks, like it have a management interface inside of it, so that if the server is behaving weirdly, you can go in and see what is it actually doing without compromising the server actually running. You go through the management interface, and the management interface will have like logs where you can see, oh, there's a bias battery that is acting up, or there is no connection on the network port, or whatever, bad fan, bad RAM, something. It will be in the management interface. It monitors that, or the temperature might be too high. And yeah, I just wanted to show you some of the features that is accessible through the management interface on an enterprise server, like the awesome SR650 from Lenovo. Not sponsored, but they really should. So yeah, let's go to the computer in the living room and see how that looks. Okay, so we move to the computer and let's just jump right into it. Switch to another viewing of me in the corner, and we're gonna start somewhere differently, because when you get enterprise servers, you might have more than one. Actually, you might have a lot of them. And for combining a lot of enterprise servers into one tool, Lenovo has their Lenovo Clarity Administrator. So here you can have multiple servers, multiple storage thingies, switches or chassis for blade servers. You can put those in racks. I have one rack because my Lenovo server is there. Don't even know which one this is, but never mind. So they have this tool where you can kind of see all your servers, and we can go. I have 4 Lenovo servers that will, that Clarity Administrator will actually see. They introduced this, but they didn't make it compatible for all of their old stuff. So the Model 4 is the oldest thing that will pop up in here. So here's my servers. We can see that I have 4 of them, and the model numbers are not even there. But the top one is the one that is running. The bottom one is my second newest server. It's not running, but apparently there is power on it, so the management adapter is showing up here. So yes, let's go back to the main view. This is not what I'm gonna show you. I just wanted to show you that it exists. The licensing of this is that you buy an extension for your server. It's called the Lenovo Administrator Pro. So you can do more in here. This administrator is actually free. So if you have a lot of servers, you do get this tool for free, and then you extend it with the Pro. And with the Pro, you can do a little bit more stuff, like configure patterns. At the moment, I do not have a Pro, so that is not available here. I did actually have a Pro license, but yeah, it expired. So let's go in and see my server that is running. That's the one here. That one is the My PlayHouse SR650. So if I press that, we get what the administrator, more or less what the administrator does. It goes into the Lenovo Clarity on the system, and it pulls some of the data out into this view. But we want to go directly in and see what is in the server itself, and to do that we pick the server and then action and launch remote control. There is a weird thing here. When you connect to this, if you just pick the screen that you want to see, it doesn't allow you to do that. But if you do the remote console first, it will allow that. So now we should get a screen of what the server is doing. Let's Probably not. It's just a VMware host, so it's not doing a whole lot. We can mess with it so that it shows us the nice yellow color. And as you can see, I'm running an old version of ESXi on this. Well, never mind, let's go back. I just needed that screen because now I have access to go and launch the remote console web interface there, which is the one that shows me how it would look on the server itself. If I did not use the Lenovo Xclarity Administrator, it would look like this directly. I would just go through the IP number, which is actually up here. So what the administrator does is just it helps you. You don't have to bother with the host name or the administrator or the IP number. So it just brings you directly in here. And already here we can see some good information, like all of these little green arrows here. That means that the server is doing very nicely and is healthy and happy, which is also a good thing, which is very nice. Other information that you get is system information and settings. There are some helpful things here, like the serial number, which you might need if the system is if you have to report an error on it. Then it's very handy to have right here, and you can cut and paste that copy if you need it somewhere else. There is also the server model, which is also helpful because together with the serial number, they're gonna ask what model number you are actually using. I don't know if Lenovo can see this directly, but well, they actually should. Yeah, something could have changed. Then there is what you have called the system, which is when you have lots and lots and lots of servers. I don't know about you, but I have difficulties remembering serial numbers. So yeah, that's not as good as the other one. Then there is other stuff. IP number could be handy. That is the management IP number. I have also given it a management host name, so I could probably have used that, but I forget what I give them. So I always just use the IP number. And then there are some information about the BIOS and the firmware and stuff on here, which I should probably get into updating. It is getting a bit behind on that. Then there are some quick action. We can power on and off the server. I think we can press that, and then we get a menu of stuff that we can do. We can power off the server normally, immediately, reset server normally, blah, 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 blah. We can even set a power schedule. So maybe I could have the server turn on when I get home from work and then turn off again when I'm supposed to be in bed, and save some power there. That could be a good thing. And yeah, the bottom one is actually to just restart the management controller. And I can do that without interfering with the server's operation. Remember, right now we are looking at the management interface. The server is running over here. That's running ESXi. What we're doing in the management interface should not interfere with the server's operation. So all of this information it's pulling out without interfering with the operation of the server. Oh, down here we have the remote console view. We already have that open, it's that one. But often it can show us a little picture of what the server is doing here. We can try and shut this off. Then we can press this button and we get some more options, and we can launch the console again. And it should look exactly the same as we just saw. And there it is. So we can even record a video. So if something weird is going on, you can. I haven't actually ever tried that. Someday I should try that. Never mind. We have some power utilization here and system utilization. So yeah, I don't like that it says that it's using 262 watts. That is quite a lot. And the CPU is using that amount. I wonder if this could be doing a little bit of folding at home. So yeah, I would have to look at. Oh, now you see this little screen actually showing me what the console is doing. So we can see CPU is at a nice 33 degrees and CPU 2 is at 73 degrees. So
surely CPU 2 is doing more than CPU 1. So, yeah, that's the home splash screen. Then we get events. That's where you can go and see some logs. There we can see different stuff. When it boots, it checks a lot of stuff, and then we can kind of see that last time I messed with this was on September 22. That was me messing up actually, because I was supposed to shut off one of the servers. It was an M4 that I was playing with in a video, and after that I was pulling the plug of it, and I picked the wrong server, so I shut off my 24/7 server instead of that X3650 M4. So it had an unplanned boot there. I'm still banging my head in the wall for that one. So, but in here you can see if there's something wrong with it. Like this one, it has detected a port down. I think I was messing with the internet at this point. At least it says that there's a link port down, and it says that it's port 1 on the Intel network card, the LUM port. Yeah, my internet connection goes more or less directly into the server in one of the ports, and then I have a virtual switch in VMware, so this goes more or less directly over into the box from the internet provider. There can be some good logs in here that will help you if the system is acting up, and you can filter, and there's different kinds of logs. Maintenance history, storage controller updates. So it seems like 19th of September 2021 was last time that I updated my server. Embarrassing. Alert, nothing too critical. This server is running out of warranty quickly by now. So next point over here is inventory. It will gather the different information. It will tell me what CPUs I have in here. Let's see if we get additional information. We do get some additional information. Unfortunately, okay, it tells me up here what model of CPU it is. It's very handy. And it tells me the clock frequency here and maximum threads. So this is an 8-core CPU. Also says it here, but it has 16 threads. It's a decent CPU. Further down we have the RAM. I have 16 GB blocks in here. There are 6 of them. We also get some more information about the RAM block. Micron Technologies. Yeah. They are DDR4 RAM, and they are this frequency. Faster RAM is now available. This was pretty good when the server was new. So then we have some storage. We have a 128 GB M.2 SSD, SATA SSD. That is the internal Lenovo thing that you pop into a slot on the system board. That's that one. Then I have 2 4TB drives, and I have a 4 TB spinning disks and a 2 TB SSD. So they're in. Then we have a RAID configuration, 1 virtual drive of 4 TB each, which is drive 0 and drive 1. Those 2 are apparently in a RAID 1 and with the capacity of that. So a little bit of the storage. We have 2 power supplies. We can get some additional information on that. They're 750 watts. They have been running for 19,379 hours. So decent. Let's see if the other one is just about the same. Yeah. Power cycle. Okay. One of them has power cycle 100 times, and the other one has power cycle 500 times. Okay. There's a difference there. But it might be important. Sometimes you run into this firmware version on actually the only issue I've had with this SR650, and not my own, but some of those at work, the power supplies has been weird and acting up and have been needing replacement. Easy fix though. The fans maximum speed has been this. I don't think 20% would be this number, because that means that the fan would run with almost 100,000 RPMs. So this is probably the maximum speed recorded. they are doing good. Fan number 1 is doing 21 and fan number 6 is doing 22. The rest are doing 20%. Bit weird. Then we can see the cards that I have in the server. And this can be very handy, especially if you're sitting like miles away from the server. Instead of, oh, what cards do we have and which slots are they in? You can actually get a decent overview of how the server is built here by going down through this list. So we have the onboard network card, and that one has 4 ports. That's the LOM card in there. Now we get some additional information on the LOM card. Not extremely useful, some of that, but they have put some information in here. We have a GPU on board as well. Oh, this is just the onboard VGA card, so nothing special. It's just what supplies a little viewing for us. We can see what's going on. Onboard SATA controller and an onboard SATA controller. I don't think I used those for anything. And then we have the RAID controller at the bottom there, and we get a little bit of information on our RAID controller. That was PCI adapters. There is some internal stuff that is on the PCI bus, and that shows up as well. Then we have the main system board. It gives us the serial number of that and the model number and even a replacement number if we need a new one. Other hardware, backplane, the Riser 1, Riser 2, M.2 card. That's the one that holds the special Lenovo boot device. PHY card, not exactly sure what that is. Then we have some system firmware at the bottom, which very clearly shows that I have been neglecting updating this because it's more than a year old. Shame on me. So moving directly from the shame to the utilization, and we can see that the ambient temperature in my data center is 19 degrees Celsius, which is not bad at all. CPU has RAM block 1, 3 and 5. CPU 2 has 13, 15 and 17. The temperature is in Celsius, not Fahrenheit. We can change it if we want to see it in Fahrenheit, but we don't. Then we have the power down here, showing how much power the server uses. It is using a fair amount, but it shows me good info over time. I haven't messed with this for ages. We see a little peak. I probably did something in the video that it had to work on for a little bit, and then it went down again. I'm using about 50% of the CPU, so I most definitely think that I might be doing some folding and hope in one of my virtual machines there. I should probably stop that with the power prices, and I could save some watches there. So the bottom one, fan speed. Oh, it actually shows you how fast each fan runs at the moment. I don't know how often this updates, but it's definitely not running 19,000 for 3,528. So yeah, we get a bit of information of how it's doing. There's another view here where we can just get some boring numbers, or we can get this graphical view. A little bit of data porn there. Moving along to the remote console, there's not a lot here. We have kind of seen it already, it's here, but that is where you can, if you're sitting far away from the server, you can do everything on the operating system going through this remote console here, which is not Microsoft remote console, but it's using the server itself. And you can also mount some stuff, so you can mount media files through the network, or you can remotely disk on card something. There is like a 50 megabytes available on the server that can be used for something. I've never used that for anything, but when you start the remote console here, there is also a media here, so I can go in here and I can mount an ISO file from my local machine. First I have to activate that there, and I can browse my local machine, and we can go to the download directory there. I should have, for example, Proxmox right there. There's an ISO file with Proxmox. I can mount that, And then I could reinstall the server from my comfy chair in my living room with Proxmox without ever having to go near the server, and the server will see this Proxmox as if I had put in a physical drive in the server. It slows down with a slow network connection, but other than that it's fine. So yeah, if anyone has ever used this thing down here for anything useful, please leave it in the comments below. I would very much like to know what this can be used for. This is one of the very useful features of having the management card, that you can go in the data center, put the server in the rack, and just configure a few IP numbers, and then you can go back and you can do the rest from your office and don't have to be in the noisy data center, moving forth and back from the cold aisle to the warm aisle, and yeah, getting that cold. Next one is firmware update, and yeah, you can go up to Lenovo's site and all the firmware is available from Lenovo, so you can just download it. You might have to create an account, but then you can download the firmware and you can upload it here. You can even upload firmware for the PSU. I should try that someday. If you only have a couple of servers, this is definitely doable. If you have many servers, it's highly recommended to use the Xclarity administrator over here, because over here you can do it really simply. In here you can have your server and you can just pick firmware package. It's already on the latest one that I have downloaded, but I could go in here and I can download a new package. See, I haven't updated my packages since this date. I know for sure that 3.60 is available. I have been doing it at work, I just haven't updated my own stuff. So we need to do a later video updating my server. Yeah, firmware update, and you can go and pick the different firmware and you can update one at a time. And just pick your firmware that you have downloaded and put it in there, and it will upload it and check it, and then it will perform an update. So do you want to cancel? Yes. It's actually not stupid that it's separated. This is the system. This is the onboard adapter. I am though missing the network adapter. A bit sad that X722 Intel card does not pop up here as a thing. That would have been neat as well. So it is missing that one. And then the firmware for the power supplies at the bottom. Moving on to server configuration. There is a lot of options here. You can see the adapters. You can see that you can't do a whole lot here. Then there's boot options. So you can go and change the boot order. I've never done it this way. I usually go into the BIOS when I want to do this, but it should be possible from in here, and you can set some stuff. We're not gonna apply that, I don't want to mess it up. And then there's power policy. That's for the power supply. We are running redundant, so those two 750 watt power supplies will do 900 watts. I'm not sure how that calculates, but apparently it can do 900 watts, and then if one fails, it will probably only do 700 watts, 750 watts. In the non-redundant, it just adds up those two 750 watt power supplies so that it can do twice the power. I have no idea what I could put in the server that would use that amount of power, but yeah, it's there. It's possible to put a power cap on it so that the server is not allowed to use more than this amount of power, and then it will slow down instead. Power restore policy. What will the server do if it loses power and regains power? So this is set to restore, so it will restore the same state as before the power failed. So if the server was on, it will turn on. If the server was off when the power went off, it will stay off. Rate setup. You can set your rate controller from in here. Store it in inventory. You can see what you have in here. You have to enable edit mode, and then you can do stuff. We're not going to do stuff, but it is possible to do some light configuration of that in here. The simple stuff like create a new array or delete an array. The more advanced stuff can be a bit tricky in here, like expanding an array and stuff like that. So, yeah. Server properties. If there's something wrong with this, you should contact Morten. For sure, in building. He's in my playhouse. And the address, I'm gonna leave that out, but let's apply that. It's very important. And good thing the server didn't say that it was gonna reboot. That would have been a mess. Server timeout watchdog. The server can monitor the operating system, and then it can, if the operating system goes kaput or messes up and freezes, this watchdog thing can reboot the server. Hopefully everything should be good again. If you need to use this, there is definitely something wrong with the application that you're running. Well, sometimes you are messing around with some buggy old stuff, and sometimes it just freezes. And it could be handy that you didn't have to go and reboot it, but it would just realize that, oh, it's frozen again, and it will reboot. If the operating system hasn't done something in 10 minutes, well, you can reboot it. Last point in the menu is the BMC configuration, and this is just irritating. Lenovo, you call it the XCC, but in here it says the BMC configuration. Make up your bloody mind what to call this stuff. Maybe take a page out of Hewlett Packard's book. They have called it the ILO adapter since day one. Now you are just all over the place calling it all kind of different stuff. It's really irritating. But in here we can back up and restore. We can back up the BMC configuration. We can restore it. We can set it to factory default. Nice. Licensing. We can put some more licensings in here. You can see that I have a Lenovo Clarity. I have a Lenovo Clarity Controller Enterprise upgrade and a Lenovo Clarity Controller Advanced upgrade. And yeah, not sure if those keys are doing anything at all, but one of them makes available this remote console over here, because the very bare bone does not do that. And if you want to know about that, you go here to Lenovo Press and you type in Lenovo Press SR650 for the server model, and then you go down a little bit, and down here we have some, where did it go? System management, and it tells you what all the system management packages does, and it gives access to the remote accessing blah 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 blah. So that's one of the good packages to have. So there's a lot of information in here, including what the different numbers, if you have to order some of these. These are the licenses for the Clarity Administrator, which was the first one over here. That one. It can be a bit overwhelming and difficult to figure out, but there is a lot of the good information here that you can check out if you need this. And I can only say that when you're purchasing new servers, it's a very good idea to get these feature-on-demand services right away. And especially if you're buying a lot of servers and if you are having Lenovo compete against another brand, definitely make sure that you have all the licensing and the price that you want for what you want to get, because at that point of competing with different brands, you get all the software licensing for next to nothing, because that's where they can really compete against each other, because it doesn't really cost them much to give you these licensings for free. But if you buy the server and you want them afterwards, well, you will have to cough up full price. A little bit of an insider trader tip right there. Network. That's where you set the network information of your management adapter. You can put it, I'm using a static, but you can obtain IP from DHCP, and you can try DHCP first and then it can go to a static IP. So yeah, and there is different networking options down here for what you might want. There's actually a lot of them. Security, No one uses that for anything, I'm sure. But there's different options for security and making it more or less secure users. In here you can configure if you want to use LDAP. You can have your Active Directory users get access to the server, which is very handy in big corporations where you want to have control of who has access. When people come and go, it's way easier to just have to remove their access in the Active Directory than having to go into every single server and tell that server that now this person does not have access to it anymore. So there is possibilities to go in here and configure that. Local users, you can create more local users. I only have the standard one there, and that was the bottom one. So that's some of the good information that you can get through the Xclarity controller, which this part is called. We do have some quick options up here that you can go through, and this might actually be a handy feature that you can set the NTP server, the time server of the system. And up here is an actually handy feature, because as you might be able to see, but the time down here it's 9:19 and up here is 7:18. So this is wrong. So maybe we should try and fix that. So I am in Central European time. So, and adjust for automatic daytime saving. Does that fix the clock for me? Time and date was successfully set. It still haven't updated here. I don't know, we can try and do oh, there it was. So now the time is correct, so that has influence on, for example, the event log.
So all of this messing around inside of the server without ever disturbing the operating system of what it was doing. See all of the information that we gotten out. I could plan a memory upgrade, because I know exactly what slots is occupied in the server. So if I needed to upgrade with more memory, I would not have to shut down the operating system, open up the server and see what slots the memory blocks was in, or which memory blocks was in it, what size there was, what frequency. So if, for example, I had 96 gigabytes of memory in it, and if I suddenly decided I needed twice as much, I could now go and order that memory, and then when the memory arrives in a few days, then I could shut down the operating system and put in the memory and turn it on again, and that way the server would only have been down one time instead of 2 times, which is very handy. Maybe I would be able to open the server up and see with my little eyes what memory was in it, but where I work in an office, and the servers are 100 kilometers away from me often. So that way I would have to go 100 kilometers, open up the server, look at the RAM, and then go back and order the memory, and then 3 days later when the RAM arrives, I can go and do the same thing again, just putting in some more RAM. So very time savings in that regard. It could also be that I was going to be reinstalling the server, and with the remote console I can do that from the office as soon as I have put in the IP numbers, and at the moment those are fine. Running ESXi 6.7, I might be upgrading to ESXi 7.03 something, and I could very easily do that from wherever in the world I am. So I hope you found this somewhat helpful. These features are getting available in cheaper and cheaper systems. This used to be very enterprise level stuff, but nowadays, as it's more or less some software and not a lot of extra stuff, it is becoming more and more available in cheaper and cheaper systems. Like, I have an Asus server here, it can do a bit of the same, and I have a cheap cloud Hewlett-Packard one that has a weird management adapter as well, and it also has something. So all of them has a little bit. All of the brands that are enterprise-ish, well, they definitely has this, but also more like consumer PCs are getting there. You can get a lot of information out about the system without actually messing with the system. So If you are hunting for new enterprise hardware on the used market, I very much highly recommend Bargain Hardware, and it's bargainhardware.co.uk in the United Kingdom, and they have a large variety of used equipment that you can select the server and you can configure it. I want that RAM, I want that hard disk, I want a power supply, I want a cable, I want this and that and this and not that and not that and not that. And if you use the checkout code MyPlayHouse, small letters all the way, you get 5% off of your first purchase. And remember that outside of the UK it can be a little bit expensive in import tax. So have that in mind. The 5% off definitely does help on that. Often that will pay for your shipping. So thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.